your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, and I thought we would go over ranking all of my holiday palettes. Like, I'm not talking about just all the holiday palettes I bought this year, like all the holiday palettes I own. So I hope you have a snack handy because it's about to be a long video, sis. We all know I talk entirely too much. Let me get a drink before I, pass out real quick. It's just some cranberry juice. Because I got a lot of palettes to talk about. So let's get started. I don't have my holiday palettes here from ABH. I meant to bring Prism with me, but I forgot. I do have the dupe for Prism though. The one from Bad Habit. Yes, I still own mine. I thought it was a lovely palette, so I have it. So we'll just put that into place to substitute for the fact that I forgot to bring the Prism palette with me. Because I literally brought all these other palettes from home just to do this video. But, foolishly forgot Prism. So, since we forgot it, here we are. Okay, let's get started. I have lots and lots and lots of palettes, like I said. So dead last for me, and I did not count these, so God only knows, like how many there are. Is the Snow Angels palette from Dose of Colors. I normally like their formula. I usually think it's wonderful and nice, but with this palette, it felt like the blues were difficult to work with. Like this navy blue felt like really, really hard to blend. And then, because I like the color story and everything, it was difficult to blend, which made me not want to reach for it as much. I felt like it wasn't the same formula as their normal shadows that they come out with. So I was disappointed by this one. That's why it's dead last. Because the color story is definitely up my alley, as we all know, which is why I was excited they came out with it. But, if the quality isn't there, it doesn't matter if you have a bomb color story. I need to actually be able to blend it and use it the way I need to in order to make nice looks to make me want to, have it. The next one I have is the Dominique Cosmetics Sweater Weather Palette. This was her holiday collection from last year. Y'all know it came with them two, like, little lip products or whatever. And then it came with the eyeshadow palette. So the color story of this to me doesn't really work for my skin tone that well. Like this one hardly shows up. Obviously this one isn't going to show up because it's ashy. So these are, to me, are more colors I have to dust over stuff. And that one I didn't touch at all because, as you can see, I can't really use it. This color is okay. I like this one, and I wasn't really fond of this one. So just overall, I didn't necessarily like the color story of the palette. The formula of it is the same as her bigger palettes. It's just more of the color story of this one doesn't work out for me. And with all the other palettes I have and all the other color stories and formulas and things like that I had to take into consideration, that one, that's how it ended up second to last. Next one I have is the Jouer Ultra Foil Eyeshadow Palette. This one, the Fancy Face convinced me to buy because she's talking about how wonderful the formula was on it. And it's nice or whatever. It's just like I have other palettes I reach for. And it's like whenever I do videos on Jouer or talk about new Jouer products, y'all don't really seem to give a damn. So it's like, it's just kind of a waste for me because it's like, y'all don't really care about it or like it. And then I'm not that fond of it compared to all the other shades I have. So it's like, do I really need to, have this? No, I don't. So I think it's actually on my Macari right now. I just had to bring it to like show in the video, but if you're interested in trying it, you can definitely find it there. The next thing I have is the All I See Is Magic palette from ColourPop. Now, I love the color story of this palette. It's just a question of, y'all saw I did a whole video on palettes I buy and never use, and this brand was in there. So it's like, I think I used this palette like maybe twice. Just mainly because I feel like I don't know necessarily what to do with the color story. Like, I usually take this shade and maybe like this shade and then like one of these champagne looking shades at the top to put in the inner corner. But it's like after that, I don't really see me using this palette too much because a lot of the mattes in here don't necessarily match my skin tone that well. So it's like I have maybe that one to choose from and maybe like this one up here. And it's like, it's just not necessarily my vibe. They have another one I like better that's higher up that you will see later. But this one just fell short for me as far as like palettes I was inspired by. I wasn't inspired by it at all, which is why, it's closer to the bottom because it had nothing to do with the formula. It was just the color story that didn't, work for me. The next one, I said I wasn't going to buy because it was expensive and I didn't think a lot of the colors would work for me. Not to mention, she loves to put those damn topper shades in the palette and then they look like they're really pigmented and then you put it on the lid. It's a total blowout and disappointment. I feel like you should know what I'm talking about, but the Mercury Retrograde by Huda Beauty. Remember I told y'all I was uninspired by this palette, so It's closer to the bottom. Now, I don't know if she considers this her holiday launch, but I figured it was her holiday launch of her big palette. And then she had smaller palettes, but it's a pretty simple color story. It's like, you know, she put the colorful shades at the top to catch your eye. Then she has like the darker, neutral ones at the bottom. So the mattes in here are fine. The reason I don't like this palette is, like I said, these damn topper shades. Like this shade right here, y'all know this is my vibe right here. And it's like literally like a sheerish, topperish type shade. And I feel like a lot of the shades I actually liked in here and wanted to use for shimmers on the lid were just nothing but topper shades, which totally disappointed me and bummed me out, especially since she went up on the price. Like I think originally these were 65, then it went to like 67, and then you give me like hella topper shades and then like colors I can't necessarily use. Like this matte to me didn't do that well. This color right here called Haze, and then I don't know, like overall this palette was just disappointing to me. And for $67, I feel like I should have been more excited. Now I didn't pay $67 for it. I think I found mine on Poshmark for like $30-something, but you know, 37 or 67. I mean, if I don't like the palette, it's just money wasted. So no. The Urban Decay Elements palette is in here. I think I got this on Poshmark for like 25 bucks. The formula on this is actually really nice. And I told y'all, whenever I find an Urban Decay palette, I actually like the formula and I end up hoarding it. So I ended up hoarding this one. And I like the color story of it for the most part. I mean, it actually has all shades I can use in it, which is weird for Urban Decay because it's like I can dust this one over the top of this darker brown right here, but it seems to be more shimmer heavy, and I feel like that's the only reason that it can, you know, cater to my skin tone better. Because if it's normally one where they did a lot of mattes, I know there'd at least be 2 or 3 mattes in it that wouldn't work for me because they always seem to have a problem with doing that. So anyway, I like this palette. It's just one I don't ever really reach for because I think I don't like the style of the way the palette is made. Like it's a giant circle. Like I don't want to be bothered with that. You know, I don't want to be bothered with that. So I like it, but it's just something I don't ever reach for, and I'll probably eventually get the nerve to declutter it, but I'm just not necessarily impressed with it right now. I mean, I'm just necessarily not ready to let go of it right now. So the next one I have is the Vita palette from Milk Cosmetics. Now, if you all remember, I didn't buy this one when it first came out. I bought the Morte palette, but I knew it was part of the holiday collection, so I was like, I'm gonna just go ahead and, you know, add it to my video, since technically it is the other half of the holiday palette that I did buy. I think I got this one for $37. I mean, it's a nice color story. It reminds me of the Give Me Glow Summer Vibes palette, and I actually did a video comparing both of them. If you are curious, I'll try to remember and link it up above. But yeah, like I like the palette, okay. It's just, you know, I already had the Give Me Glow one, so it's like I didn't really need this one. I literally bought this one to compare to Give Me Glow one, and it's nice, but I don't know. I guess I like the shades of brown in the Give Me Glow one a little better than the shades of brown in this one. So there's that. And I didn't feel like the formula of this was as good as the other half that I bought. So that's another reason. I heard a lot of people say the same thing too. And I hadn't even watched their videos on this one, or I had watched them so long ago too. Like I didn't remember them saying that. But when I tried it for myself, I remember saying it wasn't as good. So that's another reason it's lower down than the other one. You'll see the other one is higher up, obviously, because you haven't seen it yet. But next one I have is the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. Now this is not the first 10 palette they had for the holidays. It's over here with me. It you'll see a little later on, but yeah, this palette right here is the what had me excited, because that Gumdrop shade, this Hottie Toddy shade, Figgy Pudding, Reindeer Games, like this to me was a nice color story for the wintertime. I love this shade, Warm and Toasty, Ooh Burn, Spice of Life. Like they had a lot of nice shimmers in here, and the mattes in here were pretty decent too, so that's why I got to be higher up on the list. I really like this holiday palette. Now I didn't buy the extra spicy one because I was like, y'all doing too much, and you just like, you know, you really reaching now, because it's like you already got this spicy one. It looked like literally all the shades were the same except for like one shade on the end, and I was like, I don't have time for this, so I just totally skipped out on that, and I don't miss it at all. So the next one I have, we're going to pretend like this is the Prism palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I really liked that launch, like that year when they came out with Subculture and the Prism palette. Let me open it up so you'll see what Prism looks like. I was really here for it. It was a vibe. I was like, yes, honey, I need it. Oh, y'all. Palette Avalanche. It's Palette Avalanche, child. Let me put some of these palettes on the bed. Since you already seen like all of these, we can put them on the bed. And I still got 2 more stacks after this. And then on the bed, I have the stacks of the palettes that are holiday from this year that I'm still trying out. But yeah, so that one I really, really liked. I hardly ever used it though, as stupid as that sounds, but I really liked it. It was just more of, you know, I only get to wear makeup on the weekends, and that was when brands were like releasing palettes quite a bit. So, you know, I had to constantly be on it. Now I can do more palette mashups and not use as much new stuff. I can use older stuff, which is great because all of us can't afford to buy new stuff right about now. Like, I'm trying to save and budget and whatnot. I mean, I'm still blessed to have a job, but you know, I know everyone isn't, so that's another reason I do the palette mashups. But around that time, I wasn't doing them. I was just, you know, I just had to try out palettes, which is why I didn't get to use that one as much as I would like to. Next, I'm going to just put them together because they're both two different holiday collections from ColourPop. So this was the holiday collection that they launched at Ulta because they had to have, I guess, in their contract, they had to have exclusive one to Ulta, and then it later went to their website or whatever. But this is the Rendiferous palette, I believe is how you say it. And this one, to me, just looks like another version of the I Love Side E palette. They just used the blue instead of a green like she did, because the majority of the shades in here look similar to that. If you all saw my video on 5 brands that dupe themselves, I put this one in there along with her palette. I'll try to remember to link that above too. I don't know, child. We'll see. But then we have the Chasing Rainbows palette. Now, this is one of my favorite holiday palettes from them. I like the fact they did color instead of like everyone else does. And it kind of gives me the vibes of the Huda Beauty one when you think about it, because it's like it has those like cooler tones. They just put theirs on the bottom. They still have the same shades that she had toward the middle, if you will, and then they have the more neutral shades toward the top. Matter of fact, let's hold them side by side. I mean, since we got them both here, sis, let's just do it so we can see if my theory is right. Oh Lord, palettes are falling everywhere. I'm telling y'all, it's palette avalanche, because there's hardly any space on this thing I sit on, because I always have to have a million things around me. But anyway, you see what I'm saying though with the pattern? Like, this would be good for a main chick, side chick situation, because as you can see, these are just darker shades of blue, and she put a mint in there instead of the other one. And then her shade row like this, as you can see, is on the bottom of this one. And it doesn't necessarily have that plummy shade. And then she has her neutral shades in the middle, and they have neutral shades, but they popped into gold, I guess, for the people who like golds for the holidays. So these are a main chick, side chick situation for sure. The only thing that sucks is I think both of them are supposed to be limited edition. But, you know, if you have this one, then you might not necessarily need to get this one. This one went on sale a while ago on Sephora, and I ended up getting it for a giveaway just for other people to be able to try it out. But I don't necessarily like it, like I said in the video where I tried it, and in another video where I said I wasn't inspired to use it at all. So there's that. Let's get into some more palettes, because there's just a million palettes sitting around me. That's why this palette avalanche just keep happening. So we have the Norvina Volume 2 and 3 Pro Pigment palettes. So I can't say I necessarily like one more better than the other one, even though you would think I would like the blue one better than the other one, just because, you know, it's blue, and we all know my obsession with blue. But this is what the inside of this one looks like. I didn't buy the first one because I wasn't that excited about it. It just seemed to have more like orangey and like, well, it was orange and like yellow and purple and pink in there, right? And then she came up with number 4 that's like really similar to that one as well. So I wasn't necessarily feeling that one either. But let me see. This one, believe it or not, was the one I thought, one I think I like a little bit more than the blue one, just because, I don't know, it just seems like it's more brighter and poppy. I actually use this one for the new, what is it, Single Shadow Sunday that's coming out. I've tried to use these palettes for those, and then just use my multi-chromes, dual chromes on IG. So if you want to see looks using these mattes in here, and then we just use some like nice shimmery tones, definitely check out IG on Sunday, because I do Single Shadow Sundays, and then you get to see indie shadows at work on darker skin to see, you know, if you find something that you like for yourself. So now we're going to get to one of my favorite black-owned brands. This is Colored Range. Cheers to the Beauty palette. Now, this palette, when it first came out, I was not excited about it at all. Like, they had teasing and teasing and teasing, and they finally came out, and I was like, that's it. Like, but then I tried the shimmers, and I was like, oh, okay, that's it. So, yeah, I'm definitely here for it now. But before, I was just kind of like, okay. This palette went on sale like a million times over. And I actually waited till it went on sale. I think I got mine for like 25 bucks. And I think originally they charged 50. The only thing I hate about this is, like, I always forget to use this highlighter. And this is a gorgeous highlighter. Matter of fact, let me swatch it. It's just because it's in this palette, I don't ever think to use it. But, like, look at that. That's a gorgeous, like, champagne-y shade that works well for someone my skin tone. But since it's, I mean, I feel like it worked for a good amount of skin tones, but I really like the color. It's just more because it's in this eyeshadow palette, I always forget to use it. But the shadows in here are really nice. I saw Kathleen Lights do a look with this, and then I saw Lily Living Life do a look with this, and I was just like, yes, I need this palette. And then it went on sale for, I think, like $25, and I was like, okay, bet. So then I went ahead and snatched it up really quick. But yeah, I've used it a few times. I think it's a nice palette. I think the quality is really good. Obviously, you can't get it anymore because it was a holiday palette, but it was a really nice holiday palette. So, get this out of my way. Next brand I have mixed feelings about. I'll try to remember to link Tina the Fancy Faces video like in the description box down below, but she's talking about how the brand necessarily wasn't people of color friendly, because like brands have been asked, like customers have been asking about swatches on darker skin forever, and then she reached out to her, and then she said she just felt like she didn't want to be bothered with her, and she was just doing it because people kept harassing her about it and all that. And it's like, but anyway, this is the Give Me Gold Christmas Morning palette, and I'm just like, I really like this palette. That's why it's so high up. But it's like that left a bad taste in my mouth when Tina told the story about why she wasn't dealing with the brand anymore. Because that Gifts Galore shade is like gorgeous. Like all the shades in here are really nice. And they pair very nice together. I actually just recently did a look with this palette. I did like a holiday grungy eye look or whatever. You all will see it eventually. I think you don't get to see it till like the day after Thanksgiving or Black Friday or something like that. I forgot. Anyway. This is a gorgeous palette. I think it's a nice Christmas palette. I think the formula is fine. It's just, you know, that left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, I don't know if I'm about anything else from them. They showed their Black Friday palette. It's called Sweet and Sticky or Sweet. Yeah, something like that. I think Sweet and Sticky or whatever. But it's like a boring neutral palette where they added like a pop of yellow in it or something like that. And it already has like a silver that's similar to the silver in there and some tones I already have. So I'm like, no. Along with the information that Tina gave me, I'm just like, yeah, no. But anyway, we're going to get into the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. So this was my first holiday palette from Too Faced. I thought this palette was amazing. When I opened it, I could still smell the chocolate smell in there. I feel like this is when they were still making them in America, and it was, I mean, when they were still making them, oh, it says bulk made in the USA and assembled in the Dominican Republic. So it's like, I feel like the quality of this one is better than the pumpkin spice one that they just came out with recently, and better than the gingerbread spice. I mean, the gingerbread spice and this are pretty even, but it's like the pumpkin spice is not the same as these at all. Like, it is not. Anyway, the only thing I hate is, of course, they got this giant ass shade that I don't need. And then they made this one of the huge ass shades. And then why did you make the gold a huge ass shade? Like, you could have gave us some extra shades instead of making these huge ass shades. But it's still a wonderful palette. This is what made me like their 10 palettes. Because the first one I had bought some of the 10 palettes, I was like, why do people like these so much? I was confused because I wasn't impressed with it myself. So I was just trying to figure out why everybody else liked them. But I was like, apparently, you know, I don't know. Anyway, the next palette I have is the Pat McGrath Bronze Temptation palette. So this palette is a nice palette. It's just more of, I was disappointed by the red in this palette because she made it be like a shifting shade. So like this red right here, it looks red on camera, but see, look, you see in the mirror there, it's like gold. It's not red. So that was my problem with this color. I'm like, I just wanted the red. Like, this is supposed to be a holiday palette. I actually wanted it to be red, so you can do like the red and green thing. Like, I wanted to put the red on the lower lash line. They have like the green on the lid, of course, and then have like the nice little champagne shade in the inner corner and all that. And you just use this brown and that brown over there and make your nice little eye look. But it's like, when I put it on, I was like, oh, it changed color. I didn't know. I just wanted the red. So that's why it's lower down. It has nothing to do with necessarily the quality of it. It's just more of the fact that that shade isn't the shade I actually wanted to be, which is red. So I felt some type of way. That's pretty much it. So now we are down to the last, we're down to the last 7. So we have packed, so the top 10 so far have been Give Me Glow just shied in at 10. Then you got Chocolate Gold at 9. And then you have Bronze Temptation at 8. So number 7 is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Now the reason this one isn't higher up is because, well, when you see the inside, you'll know. what am I supposed to do with this? I bought it because of these, that dual chromey shade right there, and that pukey mustardish type shade along with this gold. The rest of it is just a whole bunch of browns that I don't necessarily use. I mean, they're helpful when I'm doing like crease work and stuff like that, but as a whole, when the majority of the time when I'm reaching for this palette, I'm usually trying to use this little section right here along with maybe this gold. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great palette. It's one of my favorite palettes from her. I don't have my old holiday palette I used to have. I had the Joya and I had the cranberry one. The cranberry one was terrible. I'm not even gonna front, like, it was bad. But the what's that other one? The Joya one, I really liked that one. But once I bought the Sunrise palette, I felt like I didn't need it. Even though the formula on that one was better than the Sunrise palette, but I was like, I don't need two of the same palette, especially when they have the same color. So I just let it go and sold it to somebody else. And I mean, that thing's so quick on my car. Y'all was not playing. I was like, oh, okay. So the next palette I have is the new nude palette from Huda Beauty. Now, I'm sure you're shocked that this is kind of high up, but I mean, like, y'all know when it comes to nude tones, like, these are my kind of nude tones. So when people say nude, it's like I want mauve berry tone nudes like this. I don't want like chocolate browns like Natasha. This is why it's above Natasha, because it's like that's not my type of nude. Like, I mean, I know this palette would be literally nude for me because it's like mainly brown skin tone shades. So those are my nudes, but it's just like this is the type of nude I prefer. Like, I like berry tones like this, or like mauve tones like these down here. Like, this is my type of nude. So that's why at first I was gonna clown her when I heard about this palette. I'm like, oh, she's trying to come out with a nude palette like everybody else with 50 Shades of Brown. But then I saw what she defined as nude, and then I was happy because I was like, somebody gets me. Like, somebody realizes that this is my type of nude. So that's why she's high up. The next one we have is the Dark Star from Pat McGrath. Now, the reason this one isn't like closer to the top, or like at the top, I should say, is because I don't understand what the point of the gold shade is in this palette. Like, I wish she had gave us a different shade. Like, I wanted a silver in this palette. You could have the silver, the gray, and the black and make a nice smoky tone with that. Or if you wanted to switch it up, you know, you could have like the black and this shade, and then you use that as the inner corner or whatever. But like, I'm just mad that there's a gold in here. I don't see the purpose of the gold in this palette. Like, I really don't, and it makes me upset. But you know, to each his own. So that's why it is number 5. So, can you guess what the top 4 are? Because, I mean, like, y'all know, I feel like since you saw my palette collection video, you know, like, what palettes I have and what palettes I don't have. So, can you guess the top 4? Which ones have you not seen that you know are holiday collections? Because are you on your holiday collections? I know I'm mostly on my holiday collections. I think I only left 2 at home. I left Prism at home, and there's one other holiday palette I left at home. I'm trying to remember the name of it. So, yeah, we have the Morte palette as number 4. And you see how much higher it is than the Vita palette. This is the one I originally bought on my birthday when they did the pre-order. Like, I had to have this palette. Now, I am feeling some type of way about Milk, too, though. Because, like, I feel like ever since they got into Sephora, like, the quality has been hit and miss on them. Not to mention, when the Pull Up for Change showed up, it showed that they didn't have anybody that looked like me working for them. I'm like, you couldn't find somebody at least to freelance with that look like me? Like, why is there no one that you can find that looks like me? I'm a marketer. You could have found me to do some freelance marketing, or found somebody to do some freelance work for you that looks like me. But the fact that you can find anybody, it doesn't make me, yeah. Anyway, this palette is amazing. I feel like the formula is really nice, and the color story, y'all know it's right up my alley. We got these blues and these mints, and then we got this nice little red on the side for people who like that during the holidays. But this palette right here, it's that hot fire, and the formula on this is absolutely amazing. Now, it's not as nice as the formula on the one I'm about to show you in front of this one, but again, I feel like y'all knew that this was gonna be somewhere up in here. And of course, it's pretty high because this is one of my all-time favorite melt palettes. But it's not higher than this melt palette, which is the Smoke Sessions palette. Now, I had to buy mine during 420, but I know they brought this out for the holiday collection. So that's why I'm including it here now, even though I didn't buy mine till 420 came around in April. So I was blessed enough to not get one where the formula comes out of the pan and you still get the same amazing shimmery shades that you did before. So I'm kind of glad I didn't get it during the holidays. So that way mine didn't pop out the pan and then they had to send me 20 palettes over again and over again and over again. So yeah, this is what it looks like on the inside. Y'all know this is my color aesthetic, this part right here. But I'm okay with doing looks like this every now and again because they gave me this cool, like weird shade to use. And then you can just pop one of these shimmers on the lid and go. This palette's absolutely amazing. And the quality of it is so nice. So what's the top two? But of course, Mother Pat. So y'all know Nocturnal Nirvana is my all-time favorite quad. I actually just recently did a video with this, and y'all seem to really like it. I combined it with the Viseart Dark Matte palette. Absolutely love that palette. That was the first Viseart palette I bought, all mattes, that I thought was like worth the price. Cause I was hesitant on buying them just because it was like they was all matte or all shimmer. But when I saw that palette, I knew I had to have that one. But this one I feel like pairs well with that, as you all saw in the video that you all really liked, because I think it has like 50 views, and I don't usually get like super high views unless it's Pat McGrath, as weird as it is. But this is my favorite one, so this is definitely number one. However, I do really like my ritualistic rose as well. I have a video coming up with this too, so just stay tuned. I think it comes up October the 20 something. I want to say 26, 28, something like that. I know it's coming though, and I paired it with a Viseart Mattes palette because, as y'all know, I've just been doing palette masters like a crazy person recently. But I really like them. I'm glad that y'all are starting to appreciate them, since, you know, we out here trying to save coin. I'm just trying to show you, use what we already got, and I'm trying to use what I already got too, because I'm trying to save the coin too, girl. Because these holiday collections are coming left and right, and Natasha thinks you're supposed to be out here giving $129. She only got 3 trial chromes. It's like, girl, what? Hold up. Anyway, so that completes my holiday palettes of old, ranking all the palettes I own. The oldest holiday palette I own is from 2017, and I'm pretty sure that was the All I See Is Magic palette. That's the oldest holiday palette I have. But anyway, what were some of your favorite holiday palettes that you own in your collection? I'm interested to know. And do you agree with the way I ranked some of mine? Because some of them, you know, it's more difficult than other ones. But for the most part, I feel like I stayed true to how I felt about the palettes based upon the color story and how much I used them in the formula and all that type of stuff. Because, you know, it's a lot that you got to rank. You can't just be like, oh, that color story looks nice, but then you got another one that blends better and all. It's just a whole bunch. That's why I kind of hate doing ranking videos, because, you know, of all that stuff you have to go through. But at the same time, they can be fun. And I felt like this was fun, going through my collection about the stuff I bought in the past, not realizing how many eyeshadow palettes I had truly bought during the holidays in the past. I literally pulled all this out, because now I'm just like, oh, wow. And I'm somewhat ashamed. But alas, we're here now. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Oh, if you're curious what's on my eyes, these are the new Pat McGrath quads. So I have on the one that you can only get on her website, was Fleur Fantasia, and then I have on the Risque Rose on this side. So you can tell me down below if you want which eye you like best. But I figured while I was putting on holiday eye makeup, I should talk about my old holiday eye makeup and, you know, rekindle. I was thinking about doing a little series where I just use some of the older holiday palettes I have to try to create looks that are similar to new palettes that are coming out now. So that way, again, if you can't afford to buy new ones during the holiday, you don't have to feel bad. So let me know down below about that too, if you're interested in me like using some of the older palettes I have. I already started using a couple of them. Like I used Christmas Morning palette, and I've used both my Pat McGrath quads. But I can use some of the other stuff, like, you can let me know some other stuff you want me to use. Like, I plan on using Smoke Session and Morte again, just because y'all know I'm obsessed with those. And I plan on trying to use, you know, like some more of my higher end things. But I mean, we can use some affordable stuff too. Like y'all saw, I had a couple of ColourPop ones for the holidays. I'm thinking about using for throwback, even though it's not Thursdays. But let me know how y'all feel about that down below. I've been using the ABH Norvina ones for my single shadow Sunday videos. So I'm trying to get used out of all this stuff, girl. We can't just have it all sitting up here and hoarding it. Anyway, let me stop rambling. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.